Collaborate. Greetings and hello there, everyone. It's me, your LOTR dad, Nooch Too Good, and I'm here today with your pal and mine, Boilon. How you doing, sir?
Hey, not too bad. Thanks for having me on the channel.
No worries at all. Now, Boilon is a Marvel Strike Force creator who has created a second channel for Lord of the Rings Heroes of Middle-earth. And so I thought it'd be a good chance for us to get together and maybe compare our perspectives, because I'm coming from Galaxy Heroes, he's coming from Marvel Strike Force, and it seems like that's where the convergence is for the game. So before we get started, sir, I wanted to ask you, where does your name come from? Where does Boilon come from?
That is just a name that I've used for probably about 2 decades now, all the way from EverQuest, my MMO days. So it's just a username that the character name that I've kind of like dragged along for a very long time now, and it just stuck.
I've never played EverQuest, but I have heard of it for sure, so I know what you're saying. So, all right, so you came from Marvel Strike Force. And you came to this game, and I mean, you're making videos, so obviously we know a lot of your impressions, but what are your general impressions of going from, and I'll tell you, my history of Marvel Strike Force is like a month at the beginning, and then I just kind of, I think I probably was just too busy to play 2 different games at the time. So I don't have a lot of experience there. I'm a huge, comic book nerd from the back in the day, but just didn't have time to play the game. So what are your initial, comparisons, experiences from going from that game, Marvel Strike Force, to this game, LOTR Homie?
Well, there's a lot less screen time, which I guess for better or for worse. For me, I spend about 2 hours a day still on Marvel Strike Force, and so Lord of the Rings being my secondary game now, it's nice in a weird way to not have to do that much screen time. I suspect that over time there's going to be more game modes and things to add into the game, but it's still a bit relaxing right now in the honeymoon phase, I guess you could call it.
I think it's a really good reflection. It's the same with Galaxy Heroes. When the game starts, there's not a lot to do. You're kind of introducing it to people, getting them to start, and I have a lot of people now, I do a lot of roster reviews on the channel, and people come to me and say, hey, I played 7 years ago, and then I quit because there wasn't much to do in the game, and now I'm older, and I got a job, so I can't really, people come because I can't play console games anymore, there's no time, and they pick up the mobile game. Like, man, there's so much more to do now. I think that's fair, but I think that's just starting, and for sure, there's going to be a lot of game modes in the future. So aside from the raid, and obviously the journey, the legendary, what are we calling it? I
just call it the legendary unlock event.
Legendary event,
common.
Yeah, whatever.
Pretty common.
The journey ahead. What kind of game modes are you looking for that might come from Marvel Strike Force, or maybe not? What kind of game modes are you looking for in the future?
Well, I guess this might also kind of get thrown back at you a little bit, because the raids that I'm used to in Marvel Strike Force, I don't think is what we're going to be getting in Lord of the Rings. There could be some sort of hybridization, but I'm curious as sort of the how close it is, I guess, to Star Wars, or how different it is as well. Because the way that raids work in Marvel Strike Force is that you have 24 people in an alliance, not 36, so it's a bit bigger in Lord of the Rings, and probably Star Wars as well, from what I heard. And you have 24 people, and you have 3 different raid maps, 8 people in each raid map, and you kind of just go in a line through the nodes. And, it's okay, but the big problem is that if people don't follow the map in the right direction, then you won't 100% the raid, and therefore the rewards are different. So I'm hoping that it's streamlined a little bit better than that in Lord of the Rings, or there's flexibility, which it sounds like there might be.
Yeah, we have a game mode in Galaxy Heroes called Conquest, and which is like just running through a map and playing different nodes of it. It almost sounds like you've got like a guild-based conquest there, where you got this big map and you just split it up, But raids, historically, they just changed raids like 2 weeks ago. So
no.
I don't know if you're aware of that, but they,
No.
are you a big Star Wars fan, or do you know anything about?
I am, but just not so much up to date on the game. That's all.
Okay. So the Krayt Dragon and the Mandalorian, right? On Tatooine. Okay. So for years there were 3 raids. There was the Rancor raid, that was the base level raid, and the heroic AAT. The AAT is the separatist vehicle, and then Atreya raid. She was from KOTOR in Knights of the Old Republic, and then they just have those are still in the game, but for guilds that are at a certain level higher, they'll play the Krayt Dragon raid, and the Krayt Dragon raid is actually something that launches for 3 days, and you just take your best shot at it, and it accumulates points and just adds them all together. The previous raids were the guild all gets together, attacks at the same time, and tries to defeat the rank or defeat the HAT or whatever at the same time. So they just reworked the raids, and actually this new raid, the raid that they're talking about, Moria, sounds more like the new raid where there's just it's open for 4 or 5 days, I think is what they said, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, and you get points on it, right?
Yeah, it took me a little bit to kind of grapple with what they're saying exactly, but it sounded like there was a lot more flexibility. It seemed like there was more flexibility between guild members as well. Sort of if you have a really strong guild member versus someone who's maybe a little bit weaker, that maybe that they can all contribute in the same way, because it sounds like there's maybe some difficulty sliders or something with the bosses, maybe, I'm not sure, so that, you know, people who are lower than you don't get absolutely crushed. I don't know.
So the way you're describing that, and I kind of glossed over that maybe, it sounds exactly like the Crate Dragon raid. So it seems like, you know, my guess here is that Capital Games is making this game, they come up with this new raid system, they said, this would apply really well to Galaxy Heroes too, which I think it will over time, but basically you go in and let's say you got 4 days to go through the Mines of Moria, or the way they're putting it, it's almost like you got 4 days to do the octopus thing, and then 4 days to battle goblins, and then 4 days versus the Balrog or something. I don't know. Whatever they do. And everybody just goes in on their own times. That's where you're talking about flexibility, right? So I can, if it's open for 3 days, I can do it today, or I can do it tomorrow, or whatever. And that's a benefit too. You know, these previously timed raids, it's like, if you missed the window, everybody hated you, right? So.
And that's exactly Marvel Strike Force, because we have raid energy, and you get you can essentially do 5 nodes in a 12.5-hour period or something like that, and then you get 1 attack every 2.5 hours, which can refill up to 5 attacks. But if you're not doing that, if you're not keeping up on the ball, then your alliance might be sitting there wondering, you know, are you going to get in there and jump in there and do these or not? And so I like more flexibility and doing it on when you have the chance to do it, not when you have to do it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good. And, you know, I don't know about Marvel Strike Force. I know that in Galaxy Heroes, whenever raids get launched, guilds start intermingling. Like, people will be forced out of a guild or voluntarily leave a guild to go to a guild that's getting a higher score, or etc. And I anticipate that. For sure that's going to happen here, because right now guilds are just forming based on, I just grabbed a guild, or I knew a guy, and... You know, like for you and me, we're going to have to be super competitive, or nobody's going to care about our content, so we're going to have to go find a competitive guild.
Well, I'm hoping there's a little bit of flexibility, like I mentioned before, in the difficulties. But yes, my guild is a makeup of some people who are followers of my channel. So I maybe I didn't make super clear the kind of guild that it's going to be, and we'll have to, you know, put those rules down a little bit closer to the time, you know, especially as we approach Mines of Moria, and we get some more details as well, just to know exactly what we're going up against, and so we know like what the expectations are going to be from guild content, and I think that's going to be really important. But I don't want to also be just chucking 16 people out of my guild, and you know, good luck. So hopefully I can, you know, have some middle ground there.
100%. I'm so when I streamed on day one, everybody's like, let's make a guild and we'll make it a Nooch guild. So it's the Noochirum is my guild. But I'm not running it. I have no time and no interest in running. It's just there's a lot of extra stuff. I have run guilds in the past, and if you want to do it right, I don't have time to do that. So I actually joined an alliance, and they have assigned us a leader. So it's still got my name on it, but I'm not going to run it. So I've kind of taken myself out of the, hey, this content creator booted me out of the guild game, because I don't want to be involved in that for, you know, legitimately. And it's likely, I think it's 100% that people are going to have to move guilds depending on, even though there's flexibility in the raid, right? Like, we'll see what it looks like, but if you're at, I have 100,000 power, overall power, and I'm at 500,000 overall power, I'm going to be sacrificing a lot of rewards by staying in a guild with you, and it's nothing personal, but, you know, I got to find, so we'll do it at first and see how it works, but there'll be a big mix-up with that. Let me ask you this. So we have a game mode in Galaxy Heroes called Grand Arena, where you actually take your entire roster, put teams on defense, and you attack your opponent's defense. And to me, it's the best game mode I've ever seen in a game like this, and I played several games like this. Do you guys have anything similar in Marvel Strike Force?
We do. We stole. I think we ripped it right from Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. It's called Cosmic Crucible, and there is 6 rooms where you put up a defense. They have different. In ours, we have different room rules though for each room. They do different things. They upgrade your characters or whatnot, or it might have callouts to specific traits and teams. And then you have as many offense teams as you want, I guess, to clear those 6 rooms. But you can only attack up to 3 times.
Okay, and you set the defense in the rooms too?
Sorry?
Do you set the defense in the rooms too?
Yes, yeah, you do. Yeah.
Okay. So you might
everyone's been making the comparison to Star. Anytime there's a new game mode, everyone's just like, okay, maybe it already came from Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes because that's what's. It's the first.
Let me tell you a dirty little secret. Every time there's a new game mode in Galaxy Heroes, they say maybe it came from Marvel Strike Force.
I think they're probably looking at each other like, oh, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, no, it's both. The grass is always greener, and that's true anywhere you go, man. Anywhere you go. So. I will tell you that game mode for me, and like I said a minute ago, it's the best game mode I've ever seen. There was an initial structure to it which I liked better, but what happened with the initial structure was you were able to really exploit it as a free-to-play player and do really well. And I don't think they really, I don't think that's their. It's a pretty free-to-play friendly game now, especially now they made a lot of changes. But I think they wanted to make sure that game mode was encouraging people to build their rosters as opposed to just sitting where they are and having a lot of success. So they did change it. Yeah. But that's one of the game modes, and it'll be down the road. You gotta have a good sized roster to do it. But I can't wait for something like that in this game.
Yeah, I think we need to get past the point where we can actually build our wider roster. I don't know about you, but in LOTR, I'm basically keeping to my top 10 characters, top 5 on each side, and that's like all I can afford to upgrade, because if you go any further than that, really, you're going to start running into, for me anyways, it's XP module problems, because there's not enough. You run out, especially in the 40s, the level 40 plus.
What's an XP module problem?
XP, so the XP that you need to level your characters. Yeah,
I heard XB and I'm like, oh, is this?
Oh no. So for me, it's not really as much of a gold crunch. It's actually the XP crunch in order to upgrade my characters.
Yeah, I saw you talked about that a little bit. I think it's the gold crunch.
I think maybe if you're still gold crunching, it's probably because you upgraded star ranks on your characters, which I did less of.
Okay.
Because those do get really expensive. The 80k and the 150k on the 4 and 5 stars, that's huge. So if you spent any money or if you bought any packs or whatever, I didn't really do that. So I guess I'm not having to do that or considering that, and so I never did that part.
So this will be good. So yeah, I am upgrading star ranks, and I just put a video out today. I'm going to take my Ironhide to 7 stars because I want to see. Everybody's like, don't do it. I'm not much for that. I like experimenting. I like having fun. To me, doing something different and taking a risk is having fun. So I'm going to do that. And what it means is I'm going to have to save all my gold for like a week and a half or 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a lot. It's 500k, I think, for the upgrade.
Yeah, 500k to 6 stars and 1 million to 7 stars, right?
Oh, is it 1 million to 7 stars? Okay, I thought it was only 500k to 7 stars.
Oh, well, if it isn't, I won't have to save it as long. I guess we'll find out shortly. I'll let you know.
It's a lot, though.
But what might be fun is maybe we come back in a couple weeks or a month, and we can look at your roster without those star upgrades and my roster with some star upgrades, and kind of see what's going on with them. And for both of us, it could probably help us put together better farming guides and help our communities better.
Yeah, I think for me, it's because I don't really spend a lot of money, just in general. I'm more of that sort of free-to-play or what we call spender adjacent or free-to-play adjacent, where it's, I'll buy a pack if it's good value, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, buy the big packs, that kind of thing. So I bought a level 40 gem pack, and I thought the gems were some of the best things that you could do in the game, versus buying shards necessarily. They're kind of expensive, just like Marvel Strike Force. So I don't do that. But yeah, so I haven't been able to do these star upgrades like you might have, and so it's not been a consideration for me. So that'll be interesting as well, and how that affects my resources too, because you can't really buy gold. I mean, there's no good gold offers to whale out on.
There really aren't, and honestly, in Galaxy Heroes, buying gold's not a good idea either. They really, the expense of it is not a good trade-off. So you really just can't. But they have different game modes where you can get a lot more gold. But we're 2 weeks in. No, we're 1 week in. What are we in? 1 week in, right?
Just over 1 week. Yeah, just over 1 week.
We're 1 week in, and we're all complaining. So
But there is no real avenue, I guess.
yeah.
No extra avenue to spend a lot, and I think that's some of the conversations that I've been having with people who do spend is that they're buying a lot of shards and things like that, but there's no offers really available out there for them to cracking out on gold
Yep.
or other resources that they're crunching on, and so that's where the disparity is, I guess.
Yep.
You know, between those people.
I agree 100%, and I love spending adjacent. I like that. That's funny. I'm definitely spending on the game. I really want to make a commitment to, you know, I just want to make sure I'm there. Like when Elrond gets launched, I want to be there day one. But yeah, I think it'd be really good, you know, if we get together every now and then and just take a look at our rosters, and see what's going on. That'd be a lot of fun to do together.
Sounds like you do a lot of roster reviews already, so maybe I'll have you check out mine and see how it's doing, I guess.
If they give us a way to see rosters, it'll make it a lot easier for us, I think. So, well, Boilon, any final comments here as we wrap it up? And I mean, comparing the game or just talking about the game or anything in general?
Just as a general comment, I mean, I hope that we, for Lord of the Rings, we get to see a little bit about what they're planning, because I guess coming from Marvel Strike Force, we have a particular way that we do things on a patchly or monthly basis, and sort of what do we expect to come from Lord of the Rings? Is there going to be a lot of crossover and similarities with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, for example? You know, however your patchly and cadence goes. And how are we going to see that here? Because we haven't quite got an idea of when are we going to get new characters, for example, and how long are we going to be waiting? How frequently is this going to happen? And what more of that I don't think has been made clear to us yet.
That makes total sense, man. I agree with that. It'd be nice to figure out what the cadence is of characters coming out and how it's going to work, because we have no idea yet. We have no idea. So, well, Boilon, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it, man. It was really good to meet you and spend some time together.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the channel.
All right, I'm sure we'll be talking down the road. And everybody, thanks for joining us today. Go check out Boilon's channel for sure. I'll put a link down in the description, and I'll put it down there for Marvel Strike Force and LOTR Homie. Everybody, thanks for jumping on. We'll talk to you soon. And always remember, Nooch too good.